Hello, this video is going to be about the current state of my fishing game collection. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone who watched, liked, commented on my last video. It means a lot to me. And for those who are sad that I am gone, I'm not. The video was put out shortly before work overseas, where I, of course, couldn't work on any videos. Okay, now for the games, I would like to preface that I have not played most of these, as my priority, first and foremost, is the collection for archival purposes. The goal is to play them all eventually, but I'm not there yet. Second is that a great many of these games are in Japanese, which I do not speak, and have limited playthroughs online, if at all. So, with both of those in mind, some of these games will be lacking in information, but I'll do my best to give you what I can find or what I do know. Onto the collection. The first fishing game ever was Fishing Derby for the Atari 2600. It's a simple 1 or 2 player game where you try and catch and pull up fish while avoiding the shark eating it. Next, we have the NES or Famicom. There are 4 fishing games on this system, of which I have 2. The first is the Black Bass in the US. In Japan, it is Black Bass 2. I got this one in poorer condition, and then I eventually got this one in slightly better condition. It's a classic bass tournament style game. The next is Kawa no Nushisuri. This is the first of the series. It's a fishing RPG with exploration, puzzles, and battling. It became a whole series, and there are sequels ranging up to the PS2 with Wonderful Journey. And then I've got this one, which is a bootleg of the Black Bass for Famicom, though I haven't done much research on it, if any. I just thought it was an interesting thing to grab. Next, we have the SNES, or the Super Famicom. This system has 20 games, of which I have 5, and 4 of them are complete. So the first one is Super Black Bass for the NES. It's Super Black Bass for the SNES, but it's just Black Bass for the NES with a bunch of, graphical updates. Next, we have Larry Nixon's Super Bass Fishing. This was released in the US under the name of TNN Bass Tournament of Champions. While the US release shares the same name of the Genesis title, it was released a year later. Those who saw my real fishing video might recognize this one as making an appearance as an Easter egg in the manual. Suri Taro was Pack-In Video's first fishing title. In this, you, as Taro, the son, have a sick sister, and you need to catch the River Guardian by traveling around a map with very pretty graphics and working your way up from smaller to bigger fish. JB the Super Bass is a game with a ton of sponsorships from fishing equipment manufacturers to Japanese fishing clubs. Those who might be more familiar with fishing might recognize some of these, like Gary Yamamoto and Daiwa. And then you have JB and NPC. JB stands for the Japan Bass Pro Association, and the game is a bass tournament sim, featuring these famous bass fishermen and brands. And then there is another Pack-In Video title, Fune Taro. It's meant to be more of an ocean fishing version of Suri Taro, with the titular Taro from the previous game on a boat trying to catch fish. This game is rough, with limited fuel, limited hooks, and not a whole lot of feedback to let you know what's going on. So, next up is the Genesis. The Genesis has 5 games, and I've got them all. The first was King Salmon, The Big Catch, released in 1992. You pilot a trolling boat where you drive with the lure behind your boat, and you try to catch king salmon for tournaments. It's a challenging game with the ability to spook schools of fish, and the NPC boats have absolutely no programming to avoid your boat, so you're trying to attract a big fish while simultaneously quickly dodging the other competitors, and also going slow enough to not spook the fish. It's pretty challenging and a fun game to play. We've got TNN Outdoors Bass Tournament 96 and TNN Bass Tournament of Champions. Fun fact, TNN was the Tennessee News Network and focused on things like country music, fishing, hunting, etc., but it eventually became Spike TV. These are the same style of game as a tournament bass fishing title, but the later 96 title seems to contain actual, lake names and general quality of life upgrades and improved graphical quality. Bassmasters Classic and Bassmasters Classic Pro Edition. The Pro Edition came out a year later. They're essentially the same game, but the Pro Edition includes Pro Bass Anglers over the generic angler names from the base edition. Now onto the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast has 6 titles. I only have 2 of them at current. Get Bass is to Japan what Sega Bass Fishing is in the US. It's an arcade-style tournament fishing game, and it also absolutely fucking rules. Please check it out. You can find this on just about any platform. It's even on Steam. Sega Marine Fishing is like Sega Bass Fishing, but in the ocean. It also rules, and also, please check it out. The Saturn has 9 titles, but all of them are Japan only, except for Sea Bass Fishing, which got a PAL release. Here I have the Japan version, and it's a tournament-style sea bass fishing game. And then next I have Hiroki Matsutaka Presents World Fishing. This game features full motion video footage of Hiroki Matsutaka. Is an actor from Japan who also seems to have had a passion for fishing, and you go to various fishing locations around the world. The Game Boy has 11 titles. I only have 1, not entirely complete. It is Black Bass Lure Fishing. It's the Black Bass franchise again, but this time it's more simple, cutesy, and brutally difficult. It is incredibly exacting, and even people following guides to a T have rage quit this game. And for the Game Boy, I have the Pocket Sonar. I wasn't originally going to count this as a game until I got it, and it turns out there is a little fishing game in the system. I have not tried this yet. I definitely have to find some place to do it, but it's just a very cool peripheral. They also made one of these for the WonderSwan, but I haven't gotten that one yet. For the Game Boy Color, it had 14 titles, of which I only have 3. None of them are complete. One I can't find currently. That's not that surprising. My office is kind of a mess right now. First, the game that started it all, actually, is Zebco Fishing. I found this while browsing a retro game store and was just drawn in by the Rumble Pack on a fishing game. I had no idea there was a fishing game with a Rumble Pack, and it intrigued me, and it was like $1, so I grabbed it. I believe it was the seed that got me into thinking about the peril of video game preservation and fishing games. If even the most popular franchises have lost media, what about all the less popular genre of fishing? It's not a very good game, but I guess it doesn't have to be the greatest to spark an obsession and a collection. Next, I've got Bassmasters Classic, also not complete. I don't have the box, but I do have the poster. It's like the Genesis title, but it's packaged for the Game Boy Color. And the one that I'm missing is actually the Game Boy Color version of Black Bass Lure Fishing. It's a colorized version of the Game Boy game, and I have no idea if they made it easier to play or not. Game Boy Advance had 7 games, of which I only have 2, and they're not complete. Great outdoor games, Bass 2002 and Rapala Pro Fishing. They're both tournament-style fishing games that seem to play pretty similarly. The Nintendo 64 has 6 games, of which I only have 1 complete. This is Bassmasters 2000. It's a bass, surprisingly, it's a bass fishing tournament game, but in 3D. It also has 2 differently colored cartridges. So here I have the blue one. There is also a gray one. I haven't done any research as to when the gray cartridges came around, but I can assume it's the later copies. There are 6 games for the Nintendo DS. This is one of the first games I grabbed for my collection before I realized I should be nabbing them complete for archival purposes. This is Super Black Bass Fishing, and it's a release of the game of the same name from before, but on the DS. The 3DS has 11 games, but this one is the only one I own complete physically so far, still sealed. A couple of the titles, especially for the DS era, a lot of them had limited physical releases or were virtual console re-releases on the eShop. As for this game in particular, it's ugly, it's clunky, and the previous owner saved some headache by never opening it. The PSP, I have Fish Eyes Portable, also known as Real Fishing: The Great Outdoors in English. Unfortunately, it really loses the real fishing charm. It's all covered in a gray haze, and it just has very jarring sound effects. Now, the PS1 has the most fishing games released of any console, with a whopping 51 individual titles. The first one of these was Fish Eyes, which was released in the USA as Real Fishing 2 years later. It's a fantastic game, and I have a whole video on it. You should check that out. Next is Suribaka Nishi, or Diary of a Fishing Fool. This one is really neat. It was originally a manga series, becoming a movie and anime series as well. It's about a guy who is crazy for fishing and has to balance this between his office work and his home life. Big Bass World Championship, with fishing legend Hank Parker, is a nice-looking game that's just plagued by constant loading times and wobbly polygons. Fisherman's Bait, a Bass Challenge, is an arcade-style Bass Challenge game in the vein of Sega Bass Fishing, likely trying to copy the formula and success as it was released a year later and also in arcades first. This is... okay, bear with me here. Kawa no Nushisuri Hikyo o Motomete. It's another in the fishing RPG series featuring animated scenes and underwater fishing scenes similar to Real Fishing, as it was also done by Venture Interactive. Okapari O is a game I don't know much about, and other people don't seem to either. The only gameplay videos I could find are like 10 minutes of failing to catch a fish. It has never received any sort of translation, so it's probably a future project to scan this booklet. Bass Rise is a bass fishing game that utilizes a lot of the radical style branding of some games of the era, but it uses pretty dull colors and has no really cool music, but they dress up the characters like bass fishing pros. It's not bad by any stretch, but could use with some music, honestly. Next is Surido Umitsurihin. It focuses on recreational fishing and the excitement of getting new species rather than to fish for food or money. There is a tournament mode, of course, but there's also a fish encyclopedia in this to fill out. Black Bass with Blue Marlin is what it says on the tin. It's a combo pack of Hot Bees, 2 classics, Black Bass and Blue Marlin. Bass Landing is another bass tournament style game with a little Sega bass fishing flavor when you get the bigger fish. Action Bass is another bass fishing arcade game in the same vein as Sega Bass Fishing. Not much more to add to this one. Exciting Bass 3. It's another slightly Sega Bass Fishing, bass tournament style game. And this is Umi no Nushisuri Takarajime he Mukate. It's another in the fishing RPG franchise, but not one that I can find a lot of. Though it looks like, unlike the other games in the series, it focuses on ocean fishing. Fishing Koshien 2 is a sequel of a game from the Saturn. I don't know a whole lot about it. It looks very colorful, but the only gameplay I can find online doesn't show anyone catching anything. I have a lot of games on the PS1 to work through, and Super Bass Fishing is another one of them. There's not much gameplay online, and it looks like a pretty standard fishing tournament style game. Big Bass Fishing is, you guessed it, a bass tournament fishing game. I haven't tried this one yet either. And this one is Monster Bass. So this game, Rules, is actually a horror fishing tournament game. You catch monster fish in monster locations, and it's definitely a must-try. The PS2 has 24 games, of which I have 10. First up is Lake Masters EX. This is interesting for my collection because it was not released in NTSC-A regions, just Japan and PAL regions. It's a pretty solid fishing game with good music, and interestingly, worked with the PS2 printer. Next, I've got a quartet of Cabela's games. We got Monster Bass, Outdoor Adventures, we got another Outdoor Adventures from a different year, and Alaskan Adventures. Out of all of them, only one is about fishing, explicitly. The others include fishing in it. As a result, Monster Bass is the better of them, as it was specifically focused on fishing, instead of just adding it to a list of other things to do in the game. And having 2 different Outdoor Adventures is definitely not confusing at all. The one on the left was 2009, and the one on the right is 2005. And I've got 2 Rapala games. These were released 6 years apart. The later title, Pro Bass Fishing, just has the better graphics and feel to it. I've got Fisherman's Bass Club, Top Angler, and Bass Strike. These are all more in the Sega Bass Fishing likes of the world, released pretty early in the PS2's lifespan. Fisherman's Bass Club has its own Agatec branded fishing controller, which I do not have yet. The TurboGrafx 16 had one fishing game, and it was an entry in the Kawano Nushisuri series. This is a remake of the original, but it utilizes the CD for more realistic sounds. Now, for the Wii, there were 24 games on this system, of which I have 5. The first one is, of course, Sega Bass Fishing. Again, this game is on damn near everything. Please play it. Rapala Tournament Fishing is just Rapala Pro Fishing for the Xbox, but they changed the name when they released it for the next-gen consoles. Maybe there's some differences, but I am unaware of any. Next, this is a double pack of Shimano Extreme Fishing and Remington. I didn't know these had a double pack until I came across it in a retro game store. Shimano Extreme offers other fishing types such as bow fishing and spear fishing, which is a surprising rarity in fishing games. And then we have Real Fishing, Angler's Dream. I don't know a lot about this one, honestly, but it looks similar to the PS1 one in style, so I'll have to give it a shot sometime. And then there's Fishing Resort. It's another game I have the giant box set for, but haven't played. This one's actually pretty hard to find. It's an open world fishing game with quests and stuff, and Melody No Surname says it's really good, and she's never wrong, so, recommend playing it. The WonderSwan had 2 fishing games, Fishing Freaks Bass Rise, and Umitsuri ni Iko. I do not own a WonderSwan, so I haven't played either of these yet, but the YouTuber Yannick Magnan has videos about both of these if you're interested. The Xbox had 4 fishing games, of which I have 1. This is a Capcom fishing title. Tournament Bass Fishing, of course. It definitely has that 2003 Capcom character design look to it, but ultimately it just falls flat as an exciting tournament game. And then I just have a bunch of PC CD games about fishing. Gamers tend to have a tendency to assign shovelware or slop to modern consoles, but it's existed forever. Lots of developers rush to put together very bad fishing games that would reside on the bottom shelf of an Office Depot for a couple bucks to, give as a last-minute gift for the guy in your family that had a computer. There's definitely some that actually tried, like the Trophy Bass series, but then you've got the USA Bass Championships of the world. The general novelty and creativeness of game makers for the PC means that there are a ton of weird and wacky fish-relating games too, like Bass Avenger, which I don't own physically, though if you want to try that one, warning for very dated caricatures and jokes. If you're interested in any of these, or any of these I don't even have, a lot of them are just abandonware at this point, and they're very easy to find online. I have these mostly for archival purposes. Now, speaking of the Trophy Bass series, I do have a couple of those in a series. These came in absolutely gigantic PC CD boxes. I haven't played them, but as for fishing games on the PC CD-ROM goes, these were pretty much the staple. I think this one's pretty neat because it looks like they made it look like the front cover of a newspaper. And I've got this Fishing Fanatics, which is really cool because it contains a fish pin, of which I will probably never take out because I would be very sad if I lost it. This contains 3 games: Fly Fishing School, Gone Fishing, and Sports Fishing around the world. I've also got a couple of other assorted games, like I've got this Fly Fishing, physical game. The random things you find at thrift stores. This is not a fishing game, but a fish-themed program called Hook, Line, and Printer. I just thought was really neat. It just lets you print out fish-themed things like calendars and, greeting cards and stuff like that. I've also got this one called Fishing Maps. Maps of over 200 of America's best fishing lakes. I'd be interested to dig into this and see how much has changed for some of these lakes, but it's a pretty interesting, historical thing to find. So, I'm going to show you one of my holy grails. This is the Black Bass for MSX. MSX is like a home computer that was released in 1983, originally geared for the Japanese markets. It's pretty hard to find games for this, and this popped up on eBay and I had to buy it immediately. Pretty hard to find. There's also one released for the MSX2 that I have yet to see pop up anywhere. And that's it for my fishing game collection. Thank you if you stayed all the way here to the end. A like and subscribe would be pretty awesome. I'm looking to make more fishing game content in the future, and if there's something that you would like to see me go over, feel free to leave it in the comments, or any sort of comments. I would greatly appreciate that, and have a fantastic day.